Okay, fine. You hate Torquemaster. I get it. You can't find a contractor to repair it. You can't find a contractor to replace it. They only offer the option to convert it. Thus, in this video, we're going to provide you with some pro tips on converting your Torquemaster Plus spring system to torsion springs. Let's party. Now, Wayne Dalton is not sponsoring this video. In fact, not even a torsion spring manufacturer is sponsoring this video. The pro tips provided in this video will specifically apply to those homeowners that have the Wayne Dalton 9100 model garage door or the Wayne Dalton 8000 model garage door. Nevertheless, the principles expressed in this video will help any homeowner that is looking to convert their current spring system to a torsion spring system. Now, in order to complete this objective, you are going to need the right tools. You're going to need an impact drill, a 5/8 deep socket, a flathead screwdriver, a 7/16 socket driver, a 1/2 inch socket driver, and some standard tools to simply remove the Torquemaster Plus spring system and have ready to install the torsion spring system. And one of the most helpful tools that I have is this little stubby socket driver wrench that I use with a 7/16 socket. In addition to that, you're going to need to make sure that you have the proper parts to convert to a torsion spring system. You're going to need a torsion tube. You'll need end brackets. You'll need drums. You'll need a center bearing plate. You'll need a center bearing. You're also going to need proper Wayne Dalton garage door cables for a 7-foot or 8-foot garage door. And we haven't even talked about what springs to get yet. So to emphasize the importance of getting the right cables, right here I have official Wayne Dalton cables. And if you'll notice, the loops to these Wayne Dalton cables are much smaller. These are specific to the Wayne Dalton 9100 model door and even the 8000 models, and quite frankly, pretty much every Wayne Dalton door. So getting the right cables will be vital, because if you don't get the right cables, any type of parts manufacturer, any type of garage door manufacturer might want to give you these cables that have these bigger loops, and these are not proper for Wayne Dalton bottom door brackets. Getting these loops would mean that there would not be a secure connection to the door. That door is probably going to have imbalance issues because these cables are just going to come right off. Okay, now one more word of caution. This is going to be the end bearing plate for a Wayne Dalton model garage door, but this will specifically fit on a specific type of door flag or jam bracket for the door. This will not work on the 9100 model door flag, pretty much the door flag that you would apply the tracks onto. You're going to need this type of end bearing plate. This is going to work a lot better for the Wayne Dalton Torquemaster Plus conversion kit to torsion, because you'll be able to utilize this on that flag bracket and not having to worry about this bearing right here rubbing up against that portion or that piece. Trust me, don't go with this, go with something like this if you're planning to convert your Torquemaster Plus to torsion springs. So you have all the right tools, and now you know all the right parts to get. What comes next? Well, it's time to convert. And the first thing you'll want to do is take the tension off the Torquemaster Plus spring system. Usually you'll use the 5/8 socket to release the tension on either side, whichever side is not broken. Some guys like to cut the cables, but I find that to be a very inefficient way to take off the tension to a Torquemaster Plus spring system, because it can cut up and make damage onto the sheetrock or to the header of the garage. Once the tension is released from the Torquemaster Plus spring system, you can start taking off all the parts. Now, it might be wise to keep all of the hardware, that is the nuts, bolts, and screws from the Torquemaster Plus spring system, utilizing them for the torsion spring conversion. These nuts, bolts, screws will be important when having to do that conversion. Now, there's one more piece of hardware that you will need when applying on torsion springs. You'll need to make sure that you have the proper bolts for the center bearing plate. That is, to connect the two springs together, you need to make sure that it has the bolts and nuts, usually a 9/16 bolt with a 9/16 nut, that you'll be able to apply those two springs together, or if it's just a single spring for that matter. Nevertheless, that's probably the one missing piece that I have not mentioned in this list of parts. Now you're all set to convert, and I usually start with the proper, official Wayne Dalton garage door cables. Once I have those placed in, I simply hang them over the sides. You can then install your end bearing plates, apply the center bearing plate, apply the center bearing onto the torsion tube, and at this point you can have the springs onto the tube and the drums onto the tube when having to place the torsion spring tube system up above the door. Now, it may be that you want to take your time in putting on these parts onto the torsion spring tube. Thus, you'll apply the tube first, making sure that you get it through the end bearing plates, and then if you want, you can simply slide over the torsion springs into the center bearing plate, making sure that you don't forget applying those drums onto the end of the tube. And then from here, it's pretty much smooth sailing. That is, if you know how to apply tension to torsion springs. You'll first want to make sure that you have your cables connected onto your drums. By making sure that you have tension applied to one of the cables, which you can easily do with a vice grip, you can then apply tension onto the torsion springs. Now, in order to do that, you're going to need to make sure that you have winding bars, and these are my favorite winding bars. They used to be a lot longer, but I made cuts to them because I thought these were the right size, basically for my use. And of course, this is going to be an expense. In fact, everything that we've talked about in this video is going to be some sort of expense that you'll have to hunt down, if not through a distributor, perhaps even online, and you'll be making expense for something that you might just use once. In fact, the pro tips, techniques, and ideas in this video should not be considered law or infallible. Why? Well, because I'm nobody. But at the same time, it's important for you to understand your garage door needs and your garage door circumstances. Thus, if you don't care to know all these parts, or to buy all these tools, or to go and get your own winding bars, then reach out to a contractor, because that's what we're there for. Now, the whole goal of converting your Torquemaster Plus spring system to torsion springs is achieving garage door balance. And one of the last things we're going to talk about in this video are torsion spring sizes for your garage door. And so that way we can keep this video short. In the description, I'm going to provide a list of suggestions on torsion spring sizes for the 9100 model garage door from Wayne Dalton and the Wayne Dalton 8000 model garage door. Now, I have to emphasize the importance of going with the suggestions on this list, because if you go with a torsion spring size that is not designed for your garage door, it will throw the balance off. And if you have poor garage door balance, it will cause problems to your garage door system, not just now, but also in the future. Now, if converting your Torquemaster Plus spring system to a torsion spring system sounds like a party to you, well then please check out the affiliate links down below for some of the items that we've spoken about in this video. Now, I still strongly believe that the Torquemaster Plus spring system was designed to work as an ecosystem for the Wayne Dalton garage door. And if you're interested in seeing a video about that, you can click that right here. I want to thank you for partying with me and watching this video, and as always, y'all stay safe.